All right, so the third installment of this. I've reloaded the cases, um, basically replicating part one. So it's 39 grains of H4350 all the way up to 41 grains in 0.25 grain increments again. And the reason is I've undersized the necks 2 thou. So it's 239 thousandths neck tension, or 2 thousandths neck tension, I should say. On these cases. That's really it. And I'm just expecting, potentially some more pressure and maybe a change in, the velocity that comes out of these reloads. So I thought it was worth doing the whole, set again from part one and seeing how the, data compares. Again, this will all be chronographed. And we'll just see how these three shot groups group, see how the velocity responds and the ranges. I'm really hoping to tighten up the ranges. I would love to get the ranges in single digits, definitely less than 20 feet per second. It's still early. There's a lot of things left to do to really tune these, but we're getting close. One thing I will say with this brass, I did not resize this. I've only neck sized it. It's still, again, it's getting better the more I fire it, but there was no need to, resize it. It's sealing well in the gun, so I'm just going to let it ride and let it keep growing as we fire it. So next video will be at the range. All right, so back from the range from part three with the, the load development for the Sierra Game Changer. For the 243. Very interesting results. So here's what happened, and it's worth sharing this video. I'm sure other people have experienced this, but what I did was a full repeat from part one. That was 39 grains all the way up to 41 grains of H4350 in 0.25 grain increments. The only difference was, everything else was exactly the same. The only difference was the neck tension. I had 2 thousandths undersized mandrel on my Lee collet die, so I had 2 thousandths neck tension on these cases. This gun did not like this at all. Okay, so you can just see at the bottom of the screen. So I put this card here. This was my test card. First shot out of the gun just to see where we're at. It ended up hitting right here at the bottom, which is really interesting since this thing was all over the bulls the last time we took it to the range. All right, then I just started I adjusted the scope, right, and then I started my test. So this is the 39 grain card. Okay, I dropped 2 in the same hole up here off to the left, which again, 2 in the same hole that far off. That's an 1.5 inches off to the left. It's weird. Third shot's up here. Okay. So I don't know what was going on. Then I moved to this guy, right? The 39.25. I put 1 on the card. I put 2 up here. Same thing over here. I'm over here. This thing's all over the place, right? It's all over the place. So what does this tell me? There's a couple things going on here. Number one, it was 30 degrees yesterday. When I did the original test, it was about 50 degrees. Now this is H4350. It's supposed to be temperature insensitive. But maybe it is. That's just one difference, okay? TBD on that one, I don't know. The other thing is I did not clean the gun, okay? So I'm suspicious that something's going on with the gun. As soon as I got the thing home, because it was cold, right? Things shrink up when it's cold. Things loosen up sometimes. I checked the scope, mounts. I checked all of it. It is a wood stocked gun, which I'm not going to change that, so I need to figure this out in other ways. But the third thing I noticed was that these holes, here's a couple more shots up here. I was just kind of out of disbelief. It's really hard to see on the camera. You can kind of see it a little bit here. These holes are not round, okay? They're oblong. So I'm wondering if we're having problems with this gun stabilizing these bullets for some reason yesterday. They've got a little wobble to them, which would totally explain why we're all over the map. Okay. Basically, I fired 3 or 4 sets and I just stopped. Okay. I actually had some 87 grain VMAX reloads just for Fireforeman for my other rifle, and I ran those through this gun. I started at 50 yards, right? Getting nice round holes at 50 yards. I adjusted my scope. I stacked these guys on top of each other at 50 yards. Then I went back over here with another set of the game changers, and I'm throwing oval holes again. So for whatever reason, this gun does not like this this setup. Anyways, what do you do now? That's the question, what to do now. So here's what I've decided I'm going to do, right? I'm going to, I made it through 5 rounds, right? 5 rounds of cases, or of reloads. I have the top 3, right? This is the top 3 loads. These are still 2 thou undersize. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these cases, work them back up to the same loads, same everything. I'm going to duplicate these guys, and I'm going to go back to standard case neck tension and see what happens. I am going to clean the gun. I've decided I'm going to clean the gun. It has been a while. I know that's 2 variables at the same time we're going to test, but I really don't want to go out there and just spray things all over the place. Who knows? If I clean the gun and these guys snap back in, it still tells me it was the gun. If I clean the gun and these guys are still all over the place and then these guys repeat, then I know it wasn't the gun, it's the neck tension. So I think making 2 changes at the same time, I can justify it and understand it based on the results. If they both spray them all over the place, I'm in trouble, and we'll have to talk about that after the fact. But I'm going to reload these up real quick and get back out on the range. This is driving me nuts. All right, we're all loaded up and ready to go. Again, we got 41 grains of H4350, 40.75, 40.5, and 40.25. Same as these guys. The only difference is that these are 2 thou neck tension and these are standard. Got a couple Fowler loads back here. I am going to clean the gun. Next clip will be at the range. I'm hoping this works. All right, well, back at it. Here we go. So this is the follow-up from the round 3. So just to kind of review that, right? I had basically 4 sets of 3-shot groups from, this is 239 thou neck size versus the same reloads over here. 4 groups. This was standard neck tension, 241 thou. This is for 243. So cleaned the gun, went out there. I did get a lot of copper fouling out of the gun. Went out there, did a couple test shots, adjusted the scope, and basically what happened, I mean, the short story of it is throwing these things everywhere. Okay, so the original neck tension, the 241 thou versus the 239 thou, same result on the bench today with the clean gun. So, you know, I think I got a bad gun. Something's going on with this thing. One thing I did notice, let me get rid of this board. One thing I did notice was, here we go. One thing I did notice is this brass. It seals well. Okay, everything looks pretty nice in terms of the sealing, but you can't drop a bullet on top of this thing. Okay, it's still tight. This was previously 239 thou. This stuff was standard neck tension here. Some of these guys are better than others. These guys are still tight. I measured the wall thickness as best I could. It's about 16 thou. I'm pretty disappointed with this right now. Like, there's a good one, right? Can't pick the shell up with this guy. So there's a good one versus here's a bad one, right? Neck tension was the same when we started. These guys, both cases here, have been annealed, right? So I'm kind of confused. I got to look into this a little bit more. So the saga continues. All right, just to get a couple measurements here. So these are both fired pieces of brass. Both originally started out at 241 thou for 243. Let's see what we get here. Make sure this is 0. So 243, okay. And versus this guy, I believe this is the tight one. 242.5. How's that even possible, right? Here's the game changer. 243, right? It kind of better be, right? So either my annealing sucks and these guys are springing back, or, which I highly doubt, but or I've got a tight chamber on this gun, and maybe I need to turn these necks, which I don't have neck turning equipment. I've never had to do that before. So let's see if I can figure this out. I'll keep going with it.